Imagine this. You're at a crowded party. Laughter clatters around you. Glasses clink. Voices merge into a shapeless roar. Everyone seems to belong, effortlessly weaving through conversations. But you stand at the edge watching. Not because you're shy, not because you're afraid, but because something deeper gnaws at you. A quiet, unshakable realization. You don't want to be here. It's not that you can't socialize. You could charm the room if you tried. But every joke feels rehearsed, every exchange a performance. The more you engage, the more you feel like an imposter, playing a role written by someone else. And when you finally escape, the relief is instant. The silence of your own mind is not loneliness, it's freedom. Here's the paradox. Intelligence is supposed to make life richer, connections deeper. So why do so many sharp minds recoil from the very thing that supposedly makes us human, social interaction? Why does the act of relating to others often feel like a slow draining of the soul? Is it arrogance? A flaw? Or is there something the world refuses to admit, that the smarter you are, the more exhausting society becomes? Think about it. How many brilliant minds, artists, philosophers, scientists were known as recluses? Nietzsche wandered the Alps in solitude. Emily Dickinson wrote her masterpieces in near total isolation. Carl Jung retreated to his tower to converse with his own unconscious. Were they broken? Or did they see something most of us refuse to face? The uncomfortable truth. Socializing, for many intelligent people, isn't just boring, it's painful. Not because they dislike humanity, but because they see through the illusions that make small talk bearable. They detect the hidden hierarchies, the unspoken rules, the exhausting dance of egos pretending to connect. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. So the question isn't, why do smart people hate socializing? But rather, why does society make it so hard for them to breathe? The answer lies in a hidden psychological war, one that few dare to name. And it begins with a force far more powerful than mere introversion. The war begins in the mind, a quiet rebellion against the tyranny of shallow connection. Intelligent people don't just prefer solitude, they require it, because their minds operate differently. While most conversations skim the surface, weather, sports, gossip, the deep thinker's brain churns with abstract patterns, existential questions, and relentless self-awareness. Every exchange becomes a calculation. Is this worth my energy? Schopenhauer saw it first. He called society a congregation of porcupines, huddling together for warmth, only to stab each other with their quills. The smarter you are, the sharper your quills. You sense the emptiness in performative chatter, the subtle competition in every interaction. You hear the unsaid things, the insecurities masquerading as confidence, the loneliness dressed as popularity. Jung understood the toll. His concept of the persona, the mask we wear in society, explains why socializing drains the intelligent. They refuse to wear the mask comfortably. They feel its weight, its falseness. While others forget their acting, the deep thinker remains agonizingly aware. Nietzsche went further. He declared that most human connection is built on lies, politeness hiding resentment, laughter masking anxiety. The intelligent see through this, and it disgusts them. They crave real connection, but society offers only pantomime. Modern psychology confirms it. Studies show that people with higher IQs report less life satisfaction in highly social environments. Their brains are wired for depth, not distraction. Small talk isn't just boring, it's painful, like trying to run a supercomputer on dial-up internet. But the problem isn't just psychological, it's philosophical. Society is built for the average mind. It rewards conformity, punishes dissent, and glorifies extroversion as health. The intelligent are forced to choose. Dumb yourself down to belong, or accept isolation as the price of truth. And so they retreat, not out of weakness, but out of self-preservation. But the consequences of this retreat are darker than anyone realizes. The tragedy isn't that intelligent people withdraw. It's what happens when they do. A mind starved of meaningful connection doesn't simply go quiet. It turns inward like a collapsing star, generating immense pressure. Thoughts amplify in isolation. Ideas mutate without friction. The outside world fades into a distant hum, and reality distorts in dangerous ways. History shows the extremes. Nietzsche's solitude birthed genius, but also his eventual unraveling. Van Gogh's isolation fueled his art and his madness. Kafka's alienation produced literary masterpieces while crushing his spirit. This is the paradox. The same depth that makes solitude necessary also makes it perilous. Without external anchors, the mind risks drifting into solipsism, the terrifying belief that nothing exists outside itself. Modern society exacerbates this. Social media replaces real interaction with simulated connection, empty calories for the psyche. The intelligent see through the illusion, but the alternative, total disconnection, leaves them stranded between worlds, too aware to belong, too human not to crave it. Cognitive science reveals the trap. The brain needs social validation, even for introverts. But intelligent people require higher quality validation, substance over superficiality. When they can't find it, they're subconscious rebels. Some turn to misanthropy. Others develop covert narcissism, a defense mechanism where they inflate their self-worth to compensate for societal rejection. The most tragic cases, those who force themselves to conform. They mimic social behaviors perfectly, laughing at jokes they don't find funny, feigning interest in vapid conversations. But the cognitive dissonance erodes them from within. They become ghosts, present in body, absent in spirit. This is the silent crisis. A growing class of people too intelligent for society's games, yet punished for refusing to play. But there is a way out, one that doesn't require self-betrayal. The solution isn't to force yourself into society's mold, nor is it to surrender to total isolation. The escape lies in redefining what connection means. History's greatest minds found a third path, strategic engagement. They built micro-worlds where depth thrived. Epicurus created his philosophical commune, the garden, where thinkers debated truth without pretense. Virginia Woolf insisted on a room of one's own, not to vanish from society, but to engage with it on her terms. Einstein called his closest colleagues, the Olympia Academy, a handful of minds sharp enough to challenge him. This is the secret. Intelligent people don't hate people. They hate performative socializing. What they crave is tribal depth, small circles where silence isn't awkward, but sacred. Conversations spiral into existential rabbit holes. Vulnerability isn't weakness, but the price of admission. Practical rebellion looks like this. 1. The 2% rule: accept that 98% of social interactions will feel hollow. Mine the remaining 2% for gold. 2. Antifragile friendships cultivate relationships that thrive on honesty, not politeness. Let them be rare. 3. Asymmetric engagement: use books, letters, and art to connect across time with dead geniuses who feel more alive than your living peers. The goal isn't to reject society, but to rewrite its rules in your mind. When an interaction feels draining, ask, is this serving my soul or starving it? Then act accordingly without guilt. Because the final truth is even more liberating. Here is the revelation that changes everything. The hatred of socializing isn't a flaw, it's a compass. That gnawing discomfort in crowded rooms, the exhaustion after small talk, the sense of being an outsider, these aren't signs that you're broken. They're proof that your mind refuses to settle for the counterfeit. Society is a marketplace of distractions. Most people trade in cheap dopamine and superficial validation. but your intelligence demands a higher currency, meaning, when you resist empty socialization, you're not failing to connect, you're holding out for the real thing. Nietzsche hinted at this when he wrote, "The higher we soar, the smaller we appear to those who cannot fly." Your reversion to shallow interaction isn't antisocial, it's anti-simulation. You're not rejecting humanity. You're rejecting the caricature of humanity that passes for connection. The ultimate freedom comes when you realize you don't owe the world your conformity. Solitude isn't loneliness, it's the womb of genius. The right people will find you when you stop pretending. So let others mistake your silence for arrogance, your selectivity for elitism. The truth is, you're not avoiding society, you're waiting for one worth joining. And until then, the most profound conversations will always be the ones you have with yourself. Now, close this tab. Go think. Go create. The world needs exactly what you are when you stop apologizing for it.